Yeah, I just think I'm against the amendment. I think the original 20 weeks was, a significant punishment and deterrent for employers in not paying it. Yes, the 4 weeks rather than the 2, it shifts the balance slightly, but unfortunately, you'll definitely have employers out there that think, yeah, sure, we might get away with not paying workers their sick pay entitlements, and if we don't, what's the worst that can happen? 4 weeks pay. Okay, we'll take the risk. Do you know, this is not applying to employers who do the right thing and who provide sick pay. This is for employers who don't do the right thing. It's for employers who don't provide workers with the entitlements that we're saying are so important, and so on. So I don't really see the problem with having a, substantial level of potential compensation, and that is it as well. To be clear, it shall not exceed 20 weeks compensation. They don't have to be awarded 20 weeks compensation. But if the government's amendment passes, the maximum that they can be awarded is 4 weeks compensation, which is not enough for the employee who had to put up with all of this and then had to go through the rigmarole of taking the case and so on, and isn't enough of a punishment and deterrent for the employer.
I suppose that these things amount to a judgment call, and my original view was the same as yours, that it should be 20 weeks. But having taken advice, and legal advice in particular, and heard the views of many others, I think what you have to try and do is make sure that the penalty is proportionate to the offence. So, for example, when we looked across other legislation, take paternity leave, for example, when the entitlement was 2 weeks of paternity leave, the penalty was 2 weeks. So, it was essentially 100%. If you didn't give the person their 2 weeks paternity benefit or leave, the penalty was that again. What we're actually proposing here is double that. If you don't give the person their 3 days sick pay, you could have to bear a penalty of nearly 7 times that, which is 20. And even when we get to 10 days, it'll still be double. So, it is a judgment call. We're trying to get the balance right, and we think that the penalty being double the offence is proportionate, and that's the thinking behind it.
Advice there, what was the legal advice saying? I mean, the legal advice can only be saying that there may be a constitutional issue here in terms of us drafting legislation, because clearly we're changing the law. So I am just intrigued by that.
Yeah, no, just to be clear on the legal advice, it's not that it's not constitutional or that we couldn't do it. It's that when you're doing legislation, you should try to make sure that penalties are proportionate to the offence, and that's a basic principle of justice. So, a more severe offence has a bigger penalty. And as things stand with paternity leave, it's 2 weeks entitlement, 2 weeks penalty. What we were proposing originally here was 10 days and 20 weeks, and that appeared disproportionate. So what we're proposing here now is that if somebody is not given their 10 days sick pay, that they'd have to get the 10 days, and the penalty will be up to 20 days, 4 weeks. So the penalty, if you like, is double the offence. I do think if we decide to go beyond 10 days, then we could go up from the 4 weeks, but it will be 4 weeks from day one.
Okay, thank you.